Good morning. Another scorching hot day. I was going to try to do this down by the lake and record it off the dockside, but it's not connecting to the Wi-Fi up here. So I guess that metal roof acts as a Faraday cage, but what do you do? So anyhow, I just recorded this video and then realized that the microphone wasn't turned on, so I'm starting all over again. It's been kind of a rough morning so far. So I've just got to have a little more coffee and then go on my little rant here. So basically, I wanted to share with you some things that I've noticed in society in general and how it impacts my business. But you've seen these videos where consumers walk into like a grocery store, like a Target or a Walmart or whatever, start loading up the grocery cart or shopping cart and just walking out with as much as they want. And then, like, no consequences as a result. The same thing is happening in real estate in a way. It's that self-centered attitude, that entitlement attitude. This happened last week, and it's happened quite a bit actually. But the office put on we put on a listing that is called "Coming Soon." So it gets published. The owner wants to sell their house, and we want to pre-market it to get as much interest in the property as we can. So we put it out and syndicate it to all the websites that it's coming soon. So it's not on the market. You can't show it yet, but it is going to be on the market. So the owners are sitting there. They're getting ready to sell. They're having their breakfast, sitting in their dining room. Screen door is closed. It's a hot day, summer day. They're got the screen door open, and people are walking through their yard, just walking through their yard. And then one actually opens up the screen door and walks into their house. And it's like, what are you doing? And get out of our house, get off our property, or we're going to call the police. And the guy says, well, I'm a policeman. You don't have to bother. It's the arrogance and the self-centeredness is unbelievable. They are trespassing on property. So if you see a property listed for sale or coming soon, that does not give you the right to walk on someone's property. That owner is the owner of the property, and that by selling their house does not give you permission to go on their house. The permission has to be through a what they call licensed real estate agent or scheduled showing. So what's going to happen is the consumer is going to ruin it for themselves. Same with the stores. The stores are going to have to close in those areas that have that lot of theft. So the consumers are going to end up hurting themselves in the long run. And the same thing is going to happen in real estate if that kind of stuff continues on. And someone's going to get hurt. So someone's going to walk into a house that they don't have permission to be there, and a startled owner may end up shooting or hurting them, and it's a bad situation. So just because you see something listed for sale, you can drive by it, you can look at it, but you do not have permission to walk on that property without the owners giving permission. Now, the owner works with the broker that gives permission to enter the property. And then that kind of dovetails into the other thing that's going on with the broker commissions. Part of the contract with the MLS was the seller's broker was going to charge a fee, and part of that fee is to entice a buyer's broker, to bring their client into the property and get paid to sell the property. So that's how this has worked for 100 years. That's kind of how the system worked. But now that's being upended, and it's going to start in August. So basically, the argument is that the buyer isn't negotiating that commission. The buyer has to negotiate the commission directly with the agent. Okay, so that seems reasonable. So the buyer is going to sign a contract with the buyer's agent, and the buyer's agent is going to go around and try to find the property to fit the buyer's needs, and negotiate that out with the seller. In exchange, that buyer will have to pay that agent. So let's just presume it's 2.5, 3, 4%. The buyer may be able to negotiate with the seller for concessions to compensate that agent, but then that compensation would go to the buyer, and the buyer would pay the buyer's broker. That level adds a big level of complication to the transaction and makes it difficult for consumers. So what does this do? So the MLS is full. The only reason MLS existed was to offer the buyer broker compensation, and now that's going away. So there's no reason for the MLS to really exist at this point. Is it an advertising platform? I guess that's all it is. But why can't a big broker just advertise themselves and operate like the commercial real estate market? Um, there's no reason for it. So depending on how this goes up, and it's going to roll out in August, it looks like things are going to operate fairly normal, close to the original model that we've seen. Um, I don't know if there's any cost savings that can be had, right? That there's just too much time, liability, and energy that goes into working with a buyer. It's actually easier working with the seller. So I suspect what'll happen is maybe some of the seller commissions might go down and the buyer commissions go up in a fair world. We've kind of always kind of blended it into one, so it kind of averaged out. So if things get priced out equally, I can see where the buyer's agent commission goes up. And something to consider is, let's say I've been in the business for almost 30 years, 29, I think is right where I'm at now. But I invest out of state. So I go down to, let's say, Florida, and I'll go buy real estate down there. The first person I contact is a realtor. Why do I need a realtor when I've been in the business 29 years? Two reasons. I don't know that marketplace. That realtor has expertise in the real estate market. They know what comes on the property, what sells for what consumers want. They just they're in tune with the marketplace. That's what I need. I can understand the house construction. I can understand the paperwork, right? There are different real estate laws in Florida, but I understand that stuff. I need the expertise of that local market because I can easily go into a market that I'm not in tune with, and just even outstate of market I don't work in Minnesota. I can easily be off by 3 to 5% just on an offer, right? With the expertise in the marketplace, much less likely to make those mistakes. So it more than pays for itself to work with a realtor, and I do when I'm investing outside my market. I'm going for their expertise in the market. I will use a lawyer when I need legal documents, when I need to understand easements, when I need to understand contracts. Then the real estate lawyers come in, and they've got a vital role. But generally speaking, the lawyer and the realtor they're not interchangeable. And I got into this discussion online with a lawyer that was pushing for the commission adjustment, saying, well, lawyers can do the same job as a realtor for less money. And it's like they can probably draft the contract cheaper, but if you don't get the house, are they going to refund that money? Or do they know the real estate market? Are they going to prevent you from making a 3 to 5, 10% misjudgment on value? Probably not. And the same goes as if I'm going to build a house. I've been a general contractor. I understand how construction works. I understand how houses go together. I may not be as up to date on the current codes, but I can kind of figure those out as we go. But where the value is on a general contractor is they're in the business every day. They're getting bids every day. They're going to know if that lumber bid is 10% off. They're going to know if that's the cement contractors gouging by 20, 30%. So if I'm going to pay that general contractor, I'm going to save that money by that 10, 15, 20% on the top end. So there's value there. There's value in that expertise that works that every day. It's when you hire someone outside of their field of expertise is when you can make those errors. And I'm guilty of this all the time. I do a lot of the work myself, and so I'll go do a plumbing work that I could hire a plumber at whatever $200 an hour, $180 an hour, and he can do it in an hour, and it might take me 2 or 3 hours, and his is going to be a better job. So there is value in what those experts bring to the table. So it's going to be interesting to see how this commission goes forward and how the consumer responds to it. I suspect we'll see some commissions go up in value. There are agents out there. There's even agents that I work with in my office that just they just know that market. I'm in the same market, but they have this gut instinct. You use the term Kentucky windage, right? You can kind of you can use all the sites and all the metrics and stuff, but there's just a natural there's just that natural instinct on knowing values, and you can put it in all these databases and weigh the house, you count all the nails and everything else, all the other metrics, but that emotional in tune with what the consumer wants is what you're paying for. That's the value. And I've worked with some of the most brilliant people that just know that intuitively. Now, some of them you talk to them and you're like, oh, they're not very smart at all. And it's like, no, they're very brilliant, but you just don't know it. That they can't talk the contract law, they can't talk, economics, they can't, but they know intuitively what that consumer is going to pay, and there's huge value in that, and that's where the money is made in real estate. So just kind of my 2 cents and a little rant here, but it just kind of irked me that people are becoming so self-entitled and self-absorbed that they'll just wander onto people's private property just because it was posted online that they're going to be selling or that it is for sale, and have the guts to even just open the door and walk into someone's house while they're sitting there eating breakfast. If this continues, you're going to have to go directly to agents. They're going to end up being a gatekeeper of the data. They can't share that information if consumers are going to treat other consumers that way. We're not dealing with a business. We're dealing with private property. We're dealing with someone's personal residence. Um, this is just, yeah, something's gone amok in society, and I don't know how to fix it. But I do know that if that continues, the industry can't function by putting that data out there. Maybe they can post everything but the address now, so people can't drive by and walk in. People can't know the location because people aren't responsible enough and respectful enough of other people's private property. So we'll see where it goes, but something to watch for. And if you see something exciting, yeah, go drive by it. Do not step on the property. Call an agent, get your permission to go in, and yeah, that go through the proper channels, because they're the only ones with permission to schedule with the owner to get into that property. And it is private property, and you will be prosecuted. In some cases, you might actually be injured if you startle someone. So good luck. We'll talk to you later. Have a good one.